Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Orange County Funding Corp Board meeting for January 15th of 2025, and the time is 5:11 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Board of Directors, and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Dean Tamburri.
Here.
Dr. Vincent Odock.
Here.
Susan Walski.
Here.
Linda Muller.
Here.
Giovanni Palladino.
Here.
6 of 7 members. We have 1 excused absence. Also, I'll mention myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Marty Barras here as staff. We also have our General Counsel, Nino Sciaretta, our New York State Monitor, Brian Sandvidge, and our AV consultant, Billy Iverson.
Very good. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to mention the proof of notice was properly provided. A copy of that is in the board packet. And moving on to the minutes from the December 18th, 2024 board meeting of the Funding Corp. Any additions, corrections? Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Linda, second by Doc Odock. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Moving on to the reorganization meeting, which is customary in our first board meeting of the year. I'm going to ask Bill to go through those resolutions that have been prepared.
Yes, we are able to pass these unless anyone objects, pass these all together, but I'll go through and make sure. They're pretty self-explanatory, but we have resolution to reappoint our chairman, and then another one for all the other officers besides the chairman, reappointing myself, reappointing RBT CPAs, Shannon Manisi as our external CFO, Kelly Riley as our records officer. That's responding to freedom of information requests and such. Then we need an appeals officer, which will be me in case someone appeals what Kelly has provided in response to those requests. And then we have our depositories and set limits. So these are the banks that are able to collateralize any of our cash or CDs. And we did set limits with each of $12 million, which is roughly what we have in cash. And then lastly, there's a designation of our official newspaper. That's the Times Herald Record, even though it's almost like a college pamphlet at this point. It is the one that we use to post all of our notices.
Any questions on those resolutions? With that in mind, Lino?
Yes, sir. So you can take one ominous motion to approve all those resolutions by one motion, as long as it's all on consent.
So I'm gonna propose a motion that we accept the proposed reorganization as laid out.
Through the resolutions.
Yep.
I'll second.
Second by Linda. Any other discussion on those? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you for your confidence in me. And I'll move on to my appointments for the audit committee. And have spoken with board members individually. And I believe, maybe, does everybody have a copy of the committee?
No. they don't.
Okay, I'll read these off quick. Audit Committee, Susan Walski, Chair, Dean Tamburri, and Mark Green. On the Finance Committee, Mark Green, Chair, myself, Dean Tamburri, Linda Muller. And lastly, for Governance, Linda Muller, Chair, myself, Dean Tamburri, Dr. Vince Odock, serving on that committee. Any questions or comments on those?
I didn't hear my name for governance.
Where'd we go wrong there?
Missing my
We
name?
must have,
Yeah, he is missing.
yeah, he should be on there.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not complaining.
My
Oh,
apologies.
no. Don't try to get out of it.
Anywhere.
Should get my mouth shut.
Okay, sorry about that, I was reading what I was told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not getting off that easy.
I figured if they printed it out, I wouldn't make a mistake. That didn't work so well.
Maybe you were just testing to see if I was hearing.
Good job paying attention.
And that moves us on to the new business. Actually, the committee reports, Finance Committee for Orange County Funding Corp. We just had that meeting, and Mark Green, our chair, was absent, so I led that committee, and I'm trying to we reviewed the December financials for 2024, the December, January payables. We made a recommendation for the certificate of deposit, and the other couple things I'll do in a moment. These financials were in everybody's packet. I don't know if you have any highlights you want to mention on those, Bill, or anybody else for that matter.
I don't think so.
They were pretty straightforward. And for reasons due to not having as many projects as we'd like, the year ended up in a negative 77,000. And we're hoping to turn that around with some more activity this coming year. We approved, or recommended approval to the full board from the committee for both the financials and the payables. And I think the board would need to take a motion to actually approve both of those if we agree, by motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Linda for the December financials and December, January payables.
I'll second.
Second by Giovanni, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then on the certificate of deposit, we recommended as a committee to take the maturing CD of $600,000 that actually matured a couple days ago, and recommend motion by Giovanni for the Lakeland Bank, 3.85 for the Lakeland Bank, 3.85%, 9 months.
I'll second.
Second by Dean. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And let's see here. I'm not used to doing all these things.
Yeah.
Authorizing staff to pay recurring bills and insurance invoices. Again, the board recommended approval. Do you want to brief the board on that?
Yeah, this is something we do every January also, where we look for your authorization to pay all recurring bills, rent, utilities, et cetera, all the ones that are typically very similar amounts and happen every month. We also added the request to authorize us to pay insurance premiums that they come due, because they have, just for some reason, a very short turnaround time. We'll get a bill and sometimes it's due 2 days later. We want to avoid any insurance lapse. I want to be clear though, as I listen to the finance committee, the finance committee reviews all of these, even in the cases of these after the fact, but, so they're still scrutinized, but we have the okay to pay them so we can avoid late payment fees and such.
Any questions on
Mr.
that?
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve
And this would be for the,
recurring bills and insurance invoices.
excellent. Second to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Susan. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. That motion is carried as well. And did you want to mention the
Please. I just wanted,
guidelines?
thank you. I want to at least introduce this subject. We're going to table this till February when our finance committee chairman is back. But this, I've reported on this in my last 2 CEO reports, transitioning to ramp.com, which is an online service that allows us to pay bills electronically through ACH. It will also help us shorten the response time of paying bills, avoiding late fees. It also avoids check fraud, opportunity for check fraud, and it will save us some money with RBT, our CPA that's cutting those checks now. So what I was in finance committee, I wanted to give everyone a look at that application, see how the bills come up for queue for you to review and approve. We do have the opportunity for, it would likely be finance committee members who could review and approve bills in between meetings. They have that opportunity. But we want to have a full discussion with the full committee, because we may just still want to have the committee approve things, even if they're looking at the screen, looking at ramp, approve them in our finance committee meetings. But we're gonna take next month to have another discussion at the finance committee level, and then we'll come back with some proposed guidelines that we'll want you to bless.
I have some questions on that. So are these gonna be paid via like an ACH?
Yes.
Or I was gonna say credit card, because normally there's fees involved with credit cards and that
Yeah.
can rack up to a huge expense.
No, it's all ACH at no charge through ramp.com. They can pay something by check if we so request it, but there's no reason we're gonna be looking to do that very often.
I'm just, like I said, I just wanna make sure we don't get hit with the silent fees.
Definitely, definitely. And this is a free service. They do require that we use a credit card of theirs, which is like an American Express card that you pay up every month. They are competing with American Express. They were clear with us on that. But as opposed to Bill.com, which the Finance Committee also demoed, this is no charge, whereas that would have been several $100s per month in fees. So we're giving it a shot. We tried a few bills already. We're doing more and more, and it's working really well. It was time to bring it to the Finance Committee to lay out some rules and guidelines on how we'll approve it.
Yeah, the other thing I was gonna add is what you were saying too, is that Marty and Kelly were saying that the invoices go right into the system. You can actually see the entire invoice. It, gets booked to QuickBooks immediately, so seems like working well for them.
Yes, thank you.
Looks promising. Any other questions there? And I believe with that, it wraps up our items for the funding court meeting, in which case, if anybody doesn't have something else, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Dean.
Second.
Susan, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Our meeting is adjourned at 5:22. We still on? Okay, if everybody's good, I'll call the meeting to order for the Orange County Industrial Development Agency for January 15th, 2025. The time is 5:23 PM. And I'll ask Bill to do the roll call, please.
Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Dean Tamburri.
Here.
Dr. Vincent Oda.
Yes.
Susan Walsky.
Here.
Linda Muller.
Here.
Giovanni Palladino.
Here.
6 of our 7 members are present. As for staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Marty Barras. We have our General Counsel, Lino Sharetta here, our New York State Monitor, Brian Sandvidge, and Billy Iverson handling AV for us.
Very good, thank you. And I'll point out the proof of notice is in our meeting packet, and this meeting was duly, properly noted. The minutes for the December 18th, 2024 meeting are in your packet. Any additions, corrections? Motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes for the December meeting. Is there a second to that motion? By Doc Oduck. Thank you. Unless there's something else, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And moving on to our reorganization meeting, which is customary each January for the IDA board. Bill, would you brief
Yep,
us on
all the
those?
same resolutions as last time. All of our officers for the board, myself, the CEO, our external CFO, RVT, records officer Kelly Riley, with me as an appeals officer, and we have the banks that we are able to deposit in, that all ensure collateralization of our cash in our official newspaper, so all up for your approval.
Any questions, comments? Anyone care to make a motion to accept that slate of resolutions?
I'll make the motion to accept the slate of resolutions for reorganization as presented.
Okay, you second?
Second.
By Doc Oduck, thank you, Susan and Doc. Any other discussion there? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried, 6-0 with 1 absence. My IDA chairman appointments, I'll start with Governance Committee. Linda Muller, Chair. Myself, Dean Tamburri, Dr. Vince Odock, and Giovanni Palladino. On Finance Committee, Mark Green, the Chair. Myself, Dean Tamburri, Linda Muller. And Audit Committee, Susan Walsky, Chair, Dean Tamburri, Mark Green. Unless anyone has a comment there, we'll move forward. And next item up is my chairman's report. And I put some thought into this with wrapping up the year 2024 and starting the new year 2025 for the IDA board. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to sincerely thank our staff, Bill, Kelly, and Marty. It's been very nice to work with each of you, and your dedication, hard work, and best efforts to stay positive dealing with some of the many challenges we have. So thank you for your hard work as we enter a new year and get to do it again. And I point out accomplishments include the new website is up and running. We're fine tuning things a little bit. The UTEP adjustments is very close to being done and should be approved in the next month. The shovel-ready projects, we got one grant. We're hopeful of another one soon, which was applied for last year. And I think we have some exciting things to look forward to in 2025. Board members, having communicated with each of you this last week, I appreciate your focus, your interest, your ideas. With me new this year as chairman and Linda as a new board member, we changed to new council. We introduced Brian from the monitor. I see us bringing together fresh ideas, a growing ability to work together for the best outcomes for the IDA. And thank you also. Our team includes consultants, the monitor, who I just mentioned, have all been part of these improvements and positive outcomes. I look forward to hearing from all of you on new goals to accomplish in collaboration with staff for 2025. And I think a busy pipeline of potential projects looks promising. The shovel-ready, as I mentioned, fine-tuning websites. I know a couple of you had comments on tweaks to that possibly. The UTEP finalization in the revised form, and an updated employee handbook. And that's my report, unless anyone has a question.
I have a comment.
Oh, okay.
As the newest board member, I just want to say how pleased I am with how this organization functions. There's a lot of swirling that some folks still have about the way the old organization was run. It is not. This organization is committed to the growth and the prosperity of Orange County through great job creation and ratables. And for that, I want to thank all my board members for their hard work and dedication, and know that we will be singular in our focus regardless of what else is out there. Our job will be to continue the hard work that you have all done, and it is my privilege to be able to sit at the table and work with you. So thank you for that opportunity.
Well said, thank you.
Yeah, well said. Moving on to CEO report, please.
Yes, just a few things in addition to my written report that's in your packet. First of all, we are looking for you to return those ethics forms. You don't have a folder in front of you, Kelly, right? The blue folders that she's given out, it's okay, just I think we're just expecting a couple more. So it's both your forms such as your certificate of independence, acknowledgement of independence, and those come back to us, and then the ethics or the ethics review that goes to the county, you remit that to them directly. Any problems, questions, please reach out to Kelly or myself and we'll answer them. So we're good there. As Jeff said, we did launch our new website. I have gotten some feedback, including constructive criticism, which I appreciate. Keep it coming. Sue, you and I are going to talk about your comments. Thank you for sharing those. We had to launch it. We knew that we're going to come up with some things that we're going to see after the fact that we want to improve. So we are still working with the web developer to smooth things out and make improvements as we see them. And we do have budgeted this year for some refinement of that website, maybe adding some new features that we're going to come up as a result of the feedback that we'll get. So still working on that, but I hope you had a chance to check it out because it is a nice new site. Jeff and I will also be going to the New York State EDC conference February 11th and 12th, and Lino and his team will be there as well, so we're excited to go to that with them. We'll certainly report back to you after that. And lastly, we are, as of our last governance committee meeting, I handed out binders with copies of a set of personnel policies, a set of agency policies that we're looking for you to review. Personnel policy is one of them, that Linda has been working on reviewing and that our council has now. One of Lino's associates.
Partnership.
The partners, thank you, one of his partners that focuses in that area is gonna be reviewing it as well, so that's great. But I do wanna remind governance committee members to look through that binder, review those policies, and we are gonna be scheduling our governance committee meeting. We're still working on schedule, Jeff's gonna get to that. But at our February meeting, we'll be looking to get your feedback on those policies so we can move forward with those. That's really everything I had.
Any comments, questions for Bill?
Question?
Yes, Susan?
Are you gonna be going to the Association of Towns annual meeting?
I haven't gone to that in a few years. I do go pretty regularly to the monthly meetings so that I can stay in touch with all the municipal leaders. I haven't been sure that it's a great use of my time and our resources for it. Do you have feedback on that?
Well, the one in New York City.
Yes.
Is, that's the entire state that's down
It is,
there, so
right.
it's much bigger, and I think it's probably not so much as feedback with the individual towns and municipalities, but meeting the different vendors that go to that.
Okay,
Cause there might be some connections that can be made that way.
okay.
I'll say, just to echo some of that, the EDC, which is, in February and also in May, a lot of those vendors that also show up at Association of Towns also do show up at EDC, so there is a little bit of overlap, but that's one of the best reasons why to go, just to see who's out there, who does this kind of work, and who can help, the organization in terms of, what we need, but,
Right.
so that you do have overlap with EDC and the Association of Towns.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's a good point about the vendors. I really was focusing on, when I analyzed it, the meetings that are held, of our own local municipalities, because those are the ones I'm trying to stay close to. It is a little bit more social down there, I noticed when I was there.
Yeah.
Than I was looking for,
It can
not as
be.
business focused, but I will consider that. I'll take another look at that.
I would see what trainings are offering, cause there might be ways to connect with people who are offering the trainings.
Okay. All right, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, thank you for that thought.
I appreciate that.
Susan?
Hey, Bill, I didn't get a binder last month because I wasn't here.
Oh, that's right, I have it for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good point.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that report, Bill. Moving on to committee reports, we have Finance Committee, and I led that meeting in our chairman of the committee's absence, Mark Green. And a couple of highlights there on the financial statement. The management fee was doubled up from the funding corp to the IDA because of the year end, where it would normally carry over into January. We had some extra professional fees. But if anyone has a question there, the deferred comp that we agreed to last month showed up in the December financials. We'll talk about the CD approval in a few moments. The expenses were pretty much according to plan. If I'm missing anything, speak up. I'll report later on the staff compensation discussion from executive session. Any questions for me or the committee
So,
on the financials?
just, Bill, if you had taken out the cost of the monitor, we would have been ahead of the game, right? Correct? I mean, budget, the way I'm understanding
I
it,
haven't done the math, but
I don't think quite.
no?
I doubt it because our,
There's the bottom line, and I get 240, I believe, this year total.
is the monitor 121, is that
but
line
that's it,
item?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
certainly had an impact,
Staff loss, for sure. It was just a very slow year for revenue. And I've said this before, but my IDA colleagues, I meet with them regularly from around the region, and most of them had the exact same experience. 2024 was a slow year, interest rates, looming election, a few other things were factors there. A little bit dynamic and, little different dynamic in Rockland, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, for most of my other colleagues, that was the case. So and we have a strong pipeline, I will tell you that for sure, though, so I'm hoping for a different year for sure, once they all start to click.
Any other questions on Finance Committee? We'll approve the details here in a few moments under new business. We good, everybody?
Yes.
On old business, just a quick UTEP update, please, Bill.
Sure, yes. We were originally planning to have you adopt the UTEP, the new UTEP, the revised UTEP in its 3 parts. The project approval policy, the UTEP itself, and then the recapture policy. We're gonna do that this month, but you'll recall in last governance committee meeting, Lino's partner Rudy actually had some good feedback for us and some typos and some other things he wanted to clean up. When we made those adjustments, we were within 30 days of adoption. We need to provide at least 30 days notice to all the affected taxing jurisdictions, so we are already kind of disqualified to do it on January 15th, once we made those final changes. But I'm glad we did, we wanted to incorporate them. So we are scheduled for, right now the meeting is February 19th. We have looked at, as you all know, tweaking that. I'm not sure that we're going to, I'll let Jeff get to that. But we're still, whenever that February meeting is, we're expecting adoption of the UTEP then. We do have a public hearing for feedback on the UTEP on January 28th. That's Tuesday at 11 a.m. here. Lastly, I'm very grateful of our relationship with Orange Ulster BOCES. They are a conduit to the school districts. I've presented to the school superintendents multiple times in the past at a BOCES forum. Last Friday, once they got our notice on the UTEP, I did receive some calls from BOCES saying that they were getting questions from their members. So I, kind of impromptu, I presented to the business officers of the various local school districts last Friday. This Friday, I'm presenting on the UTEP to the superintendents again. So we have a chance for a really good dialogue. It's been very constructive, very positive. Again, I really value and appreciate that forum that BOCES provides for us. So we'll be doing that. And I also want to thank Bousquet Holstein, who really helped draft this originally, Bleakley Platt for their work of editing it, and Marty and Kelly for their work. Marty, really, it was a heavy load doing all the notices to all the affected taxing jurisdiction, over 50 of them. And Kelly scheduling the public hearing. So I just appreciate everyone's support in getting that done. But we are at the finish line.
Questions for Bill? And the public hearing will be later this month.
January 28th at 11 here. Yep.
And the board does not have to attend. I plan to
Will that
attend.
be live streamed?
It will be, definitely. Yep. Acquisitions will be handling that.
Is that the one that was canceled, or the one was canceled?
One was canceled was for our last project that we induced, SWF Development, also known as Sky Harbor. There was an error in the location, the section block and lot number for where their project site is. So we have to revise the public hearing notice. We need to provide enough notice of that, so we're gonna reschedule that, actually. We haven't come up with that final date yet, but that will be rescheduled likely sometime in February.
Moving on to new business, the December 2024 financials as well as the December, January payables. I discussed in the committee report. The committee recommended approval by the full board. We need to take action on those things right now by motion if anybody is so inclined.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Giovanni, a second to that motion.
Second.
By Dean, thank you. Any other questions there? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. On their certificate of deposit, we had one that matured a few days ago. And that one was for $5 million. And similarly, the committee recommends, including the committee chair, advised going with Lakeland on a 9-month at 3.85%. But in order to have some additional funds in our checking account, we recommend doing a $4,700,000 CD and keep $300,000 of the $5 million one that matured in our checking account. Any questions on that? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, I do.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Linda,
I'll second.
second by Susan, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. And similar to Funding Corp, the recurring bills and insurance invoices.
Yeah,
Bill,
same, we're looking for your approval to pay IDA recurring bills, as well as our insurance invoices that come due.
I'll make the motion.
motion by Susan, second to that motion
Second.
by Dean. Any other questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. And this next item, we'll table.
Yes, I introduced it to you in OCFC. I'd like to have it discussed at length with our chair, our finance committee chair in February, and then we'll bring it back to the full board for your blessing.
Very good. Looking at the 2025 meeting schedule, I believe at the back of your packet are the meeting dates proposed so far through June 2025, last page 25 in my packet. And one question that came up in next month's meeting on the 19th of February, one board member had a conflict. We tried to move it a week later to the 26th, but we found another board member had a conflict. So Bill and I think, are suggesting we stick with the 19th.
Yeah, I think that's best. I'd love to accommodate everyone, but it's one or the other, so I think it makes more sense to stick with what we've posted and have scheduled, what's in everyone's schedule.
Just to communicate, open to changing meeting dates as long as it benefits the total group, and this one it didn't appear to do so. And as far as governance, what are we thinking?
If we're likely, we'll schedule that for, I'll confirm it with everyone, but for earlier that day, 3 PM on the 19th.
So you're not having it, you're not gonna have it on the 12th then?
I don't, no.
Okay.
Not unless we can't get everybody there for the 19th.
I would all amount to 19th. so.
Jeff and I, exactly.
Yeah, sorry
I'm sorry
about
about
that,
that,
Chief.
but Jeff and I
No
are
problem.
not available the 12th either.
But we would like your input if you can,
Yep.
give us some input ahead of time on any of those
Great.
issues. And then in my conversations one-on-one with everybody, I explored other times of the month for meeting, but really didn't come up with anything, so right now I'm recommending the rest of the year we fill out with the third Wednesday of each month. I went through the calendar, I didn't see any obvious holiday conflicts or whatever. I don't know if you, Lena, Brian, if that looks okay. That's kind of been our history, and we thought we might find a better date for everybody, but this still seems like
It's tough.
the best ones. So should we take some action on those meeting dates as far as the ones that aren't set yet? Does that take board approval or not?
If you're gonna set the third Wednesday of each month, just a simple motion to authorize that the board will meet, and you're talking about just the idea at this point, correct?
IDA and OCFC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so to set the third Wednesday of each month as the meeting dates
Yeah.
for OFC and IDA. That was
The
the
rest
motion
of
For the rest of calendar year 2025.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Linda, second to that motion.
second the
Susan, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried.
Kelly and I will update that calendar and distribute it to everyone, so you have the full 2025 calendars.
And
Yeah, definitely, send it to you too.
I didn't include in that motion the governance, but maybe that doesn't require a meeting if we change, or a board vote.
It's scheduled at the 12th, we're just gonna reschedule it.
That's
so-
fine, yeah.
Okay.
It's okay, you don't need to do that.
We know we need it, and we're just trying to find out the best way to do it, so.
And then, Mr. Chair, I'd like to talk about getting a standing committee meeting for governance on the calendar. One
Okay.
that we can plan for.
Yeah.
I think governance needs to take a little bigger role as we
Yeah.
move forward.
It's picking up, so absolutely true. I like to work with you on those days too,
Sure.
so, okay.
Makes sense, thank you, Linda. And other than discussion of staff compensation, is there anything else that needs to come before us today? So I would ask for a motion to discuss staff compensation for the board in executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Giovanni, second to that motion.
Second.
Dean, thank you. Any other discussion there? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, the same. I will say we'll come back out of executive session into the live stream and take any action there in a little bit. I don't know if we need Marty and Kelly anymore tonight.
Are you gonna come out, are they taking minutes, or you already?
We'll tell them who, I'll just share who the promotions are, yeah, and the time.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. We're in executive session, please, Billy. Welcome back, everybody, to the Orange County IDA meeting for January 15th. The time is now 5:54, and we're ready to vote to come out of executive session. If any board member would care to make that motion.
Make the motion.
Motion to come out of executive session by Susan, second by Dean. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And would like to make a motion on staff compensation of 5% increase for each of our 3 staff members.
That's the motion.
Cover it? Would anyone care to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Giovanni, second by Linda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And not seeing any other business for tonight, if everybody agrees, we can take a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Motion.
Motion by Susan, second by Dean. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Meeting adjourned. The time is 5:55. Thank you all for being here. Happy New Year.